Do you enjoy cooking at home?
Yeah, I do.
Or do you not?
I do. I like
you
it.
do?
I do like it. It's just different because it's also like, I mean, I got married, late in my life. My kids don't know what the fuck that I do now. So maybe if you make something that doesn't suck, totally, even though they hate everything. Ironically, my daughter, Nina, she's 10, gonna be 11 soon.
Well.
She hates tomatoes.
Oh, no.
But I know, just like myself,
Yeah.
is bullshit. I know that I did not eat mayonnaise till I was 19 because my brother Marco loved mayonnaise so much.
Right.
So I ate only Gould's mustard in defiance. And then later
Forging
on,
your
when
own
no one was
path.
around, I got a jar of almonds and put it on a BLT, and I'm like, I give in. I give in. So yeah, I'm not offended by it, even though tomatoes,
Do you think she doesn't like tomatoes because you sell tomatoes?
Yeah, because we grow tomatoes. Or when they're on pizza, whatever.
No, what's in my what's in my dining room.
I do not know.
You don't know?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I'm not going to scroll through my phone again. I have a big framed
Oh my God.
label of Bianco Dinapoli
that means the world
tomatoes.
to me.
That is the only thing hanging up in my dining
Well,
room.
that means one I could tell you. My dad, speaking of like video killed the radio star, my dad was, a great portrait painter, but like most, didn't make a lot of money and he had to go into some commercial art, did greeting cards that he fucking hated. Like there's no card in my house ever.
Right. Oh,
Because
really?
he hated it. He had so much disdain. Like, he worked in this little like basement at like
New
Norcross
York?
Cards at 26th Street and like down 8 flights, whatever. And dark and everybody's in there chain smoking. Like, there'd be the guy, my dad would like paint the roses and the lettering guy on this special day.
Yeah.
And he fucking hated it. And he would never buy one for my mom and let us get them and like it's all scam. And that was a funny, a kind of a funny thing. And then he started his own little studio with him and one of the it was like Harry Shankman did the lettering and Violet Nakashima did the watercolors. My dad did the portraiture for like wine and liquor labels and stuff like that. And then like then Adobe Illustrator came out,
Right.
which was artist AI, I guess, for the writer.
Yeah, first step.
And it was like, well, fucking get this kid at Pratt to do it for $20. And
Yep.
I know, hand embossed and whatever, they don't give a shit.
Yep.
Because I just got to turn it out.
No more
You get that
typesetting.
little Weasley, art director that would high five because you get something that looked eerily like the other stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was
And
just,
he made that label?
we did art, my labels, yeah. I did the
did he-
letters on them, and he did the art.
And he did the art. Did you just capture something he had done already, or he
No,
did it for you?
I did it. Matter of fact, he painted the wrong tomatoes once,
Oh, really?
the wrong varietal. And actually, Jimmy's got that.
He does.
The original one.
Oh, really?
It just was painted on a piece of wood, and it was no good to anybody anymore. And, it was still a beautiful little painting.
Sure, but it wasn't the right tomatoes.
It wasn't the right tomato, so we had to paint the right tomato.
Right.
And
It is really good.
because it's like no one wants that. Like it's a movie about Hendrix and they're playing right-handed. You're like, well, fuck. You're like, it was almost pretty good. You almost got it. You can't have the wrong tomato.
They're great tomatoes.
Well, it's funny, man.
I love cooking with them.
Or my partner Rob Dinapoli. Sometimes people think because the name's on it, it's like just from Naples. But and I love Naples. I love San Marzano tomatoes. When they're great, they're great. But like everything else, like wine or anything else, my oral idea was, my partner Rob was, 3 generations of growers and packers. His grandfather or his great uncle, I think, invented the apricot pitter. Which is again in those insignificant things in life, like during World War II when they were canning foods and peaches and apricots and whatever, it was like a game changer in California. Right. And they were also in the tomato business. And when he approached me, like a little over 20 years ago now, to do something, they had a great line of tomatoes on their own, and I was using something from Italy at the time that I was happy with, and
his were grown in California?
These were grown in California, and I was just like, hey, man, well, if you ever do something that you want to commit to organic or regenerative farming, let me know, and maybe we can collaborate on something at that point.
Right.
Because I wanted to know, but I didn't want to stick my fucking name on something. I want to understand we could work with our farmers we could make a pantry better than we found it without calling bullshit on anybody else. Like, it's like wine, great, love it.
Yeah.
Tuscany, Puglia, Napa, Sonoma, Bordeaux, whatever, all great. So my thing was, well, why don't we take why the Italians came here anyway? They understand how fertile the land was. Great tomatoes would grow here, just like they would grow.
Yeah.
Where tomatoes were discovered in Chiapas, Mexico, went to Chile, went to Russia, ended up in Italy, where they did a pretty fucking
really?
great job.
That's the real tracking of it?
That is pretty much the tracking. China,
Wow.
all of it. I mean, it's all.
Yeah.
It's not a native Italian thing.
Right.
I mean, it's like many things.
Yeah.
But like many things.
But the Italians like to take credit.
Well, they definitely had an environment.
Yeah.
And they were great farmers and understood. I mean, all the varieties, and that's the thing too. Like for us, we'll use a shortier, like box type Roma, because unlike like a maritime, or you have the sea, you have it more. Like you have the fog rolling in at night, and in Naples or in San Marzano, in Sac Valley, it's 105 during harvest.
Right.
So they got a fruit as quick as quickly as possible.
Otherwise it's gonna be tough.
Set, and then you're at the mercy of a lot of things. So anyway, so when one of our farmers, said, "Hey, we'll do 50 acres 1 year," and then we had the first harvest. It was pretty much just for me. It was like I used 2,000 cases a year, and there was like 2,600 cases that we got. And I gave them some of my friends, and they really liked them. And Alice Waters, I gave it, and Alice was a big supporter and a friend. And late great Judy Rogers at Zuni tried them and said something really positive to a couple people. And the Italians at the beginning were like, oh, I'm like, dude, I love Italy. I'm using 6 wheels of Reggiano a week. I love it.
Right.
But I think there was also something for me that was more about that same thing about I wanted a genie in a bottle. And in this case, I wanted to be in Northern California.
Yeah.
And I wanted you to know that, like, if you were anywhere else or you were here, you could kind of close your eyes and have, just like sometimes as we pine for places in our youth, especially about like
nostalgia.
I remember seeing like on I Love Lucy when they went to California.
Yeah.
Like I remember started thinking about that.
Yeah.
When they only were in that little room the whole time, that little apartment, and all of a sudden they're in California. It was like a hedge or a thing, or even though it was in black and white, you can imagine a swath of blue sky.
Yeah.
And you started thinking about your world broadening. You know?
Yeah.
And
so how much do you create? How much do you generate a year now? How many cases?
we're at about all together about 500,000 cases.
Whoa.
Yeah.
From 26 to 500.
Yeah, I think 400.
Jeez.
480,000 or something.
Man.
That's all.
And is
everything.
it nationwide now?
We're nationwide. We're in Canada. Toronto's huge for us.
Wow.
Shout out to all our Canadian friends. No nicer people.
I was just there.
Hopefully, they'll remain Canada. Keep it Canada, people.
Yes, stay Canada.
We love them. And
wow,
and
so
then,
that's
and then
really
our good neighbors in Mexico, which Mexico City's used for us, and which is amazing. They have great tomatoes there as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially in their history and all the different varietals that grow. But
Oh, it's great.
but
isn't it funny? Back to the story thing.
Yeah.
It's like I really love. I mean, I have a picture of the label in my dining room. So when I cook with it, I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about our time, and it makes what I'm making that much better.